Hi, welcome back to the Indian Tech Support Podcast, the only tech podcast where we don't talk about tech.
I'm Sai.
And I'm Subhash, and we're back with Sid. He was the guest on our last main podcast episode, the one about SpongeBob.
What's up?
So today we're going to be shifting our focus from cartoon sitcoms to live action sitcoms, and our the show that we're going to be talking about today is going to be Parks and Recreation.
So we finally get it off our plate and stop bringing it up at every other episode.
We don't bring Parks and
We
Recreation.
bring Parks and Rec and anime up a lot, dude.
No, we bring up Community a lot.
Same thing, honestly.
I don't watch these.
Yeah, Sid and I are the only ones that have watched.
I watched a little bit of Parks and Rec and I got bored in the beginning. I've heard it got better, but
it faces the same challenges that The Office faces, in which it gets good after the first season.
Is that so?
Yeah, I'm gonna speak about that in a little bit. So, with most of these episodes, I speak about a downward trend with shows where they start off incredible and then become mediocre over time. This is Parks and Rec is a show where that doesn't actually happen.
I think it's it. Sorry, keep going.
It starts off not terrible, but it starts off like mediocre and gets good after the first season and progressively gets better until the finale.
Yeah, no, this one's completely different though. I don't think it has a downward trend. I like it once Ben and Chris come in, and then
Right.
it just gets good from there.
Yeah,
there's really no bad moments.
Yeah, I think that's season 2, and season 2 is
Later season 2.
Yeah, yeah, and that's sort of when it's regarded to become the show that it's known for, really. So Greg Daniels and Michael Schur, two writers on The Office, NBC wanted to create a spin-off show, and they requested Greg Daniels and Michael Schur to write it. They didn't really want it to be just another show just like The Office. They wanted it to be a workplace comedic sitcom, but somewhat different. They didn't want to take the same, more uh, serious tone, even though The Office didn't have a serious tone. They just wanted to make it more lighter. But
They still obviously borrowed a lot though, like the docuseries, whole format.
right,
Which I don't necessarily think is a bad thing. I think it's instead of being like plagiarized and it works this time. It worked. I'm not saying it didn't work in The Office. It just also works here.
Well, The Office, it's more like it is a documentary. In Parks and Rec, they never really tell you what the purpose of the documentary
Right.
is.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
yeah. So like with a show like The Office, you have a character like Jim who always addresses the audience by looking into the camera. You don't really have those moments with Parks and Recreation as often.
You kind of do with Ben, like when they talk about Lil Sebastian, how he's like,
Right, yeah.
he's since then come to acknowledge him,
Right.
and he really doesn't. So he's like, no, I'm not.
Right. Ben is the closest character to a Jim that we have in Parks and Recreation. Um, like I said previously, just like The Office, the show found its own footing in its second season, which is kind of ironic because the show that it was trying not to be, The Office, also found its footing in its second season. So I find that kind of ironic.
I just think that The Office went too long by going to 9 seasons when Michael.
Right.
I like the Florida trip, but it was just nonsense for the most part. after he was
Honestly,
gone.
Office died at Niagara. The Niagara episode.
That's what I said.
The wedding.
Thank you.
episode?
Yeah.
I like.
No, I think no, not like it died that episode. I just said
It started.
that
It
should
started
have
a
ended
negative
that
trend. It started a negative trend, I'd say, because
No, the negative trend started after Steve Carell left. I think if they wanted to end on a positive note, they should have ended on
him leaving to you. Where was it? Like
not really him leaving. I
Utah?
think they should have ended off on Jim and Pam's wedding because that's sort of the series climax at that point.
absolutely.
Obviously, you have good episodes that come afterwards, but that's sort of the episode that everyone really liked.
yeah.
So
It would
according,
be. It would be a good way to end it, honestly.
right, that's what I said in that episode. This is obviously the Parks and Recreation episode, so right. According to Greg Daniels, he felt the first 6 episodes of Parks and Rec were like one big pilot for the show. The show's rough start ended with people dropping it without giving it a second chance, something that The Office also faced, but with the 9 season run, people also picked it up within those 9 years. Um, One of the first great episodes of the series is the season 1 finale, Rock Band. it has
Rock show.
Rock Show. Okay, my bad, my bad, my bad.
Damn, Subhash, you lacking. Not really. You got like 10 pages of notes.
I have
Nah,
3 pages
15
this
pages.
I
time.
find that
notes.
episode really funny when you find out that Andy could have taken him off like 2 weeks earlier.
Right. So what I like about Rock Show is that it's written well. It comes with a few good jokes, and you get to see who the characters really are as people. Um, and that's something that's different between the other 5 episodes in the first season.
I feel like that one, the last episode, you don't really see how much Leslie is as a person. All
Right,
you know is that
yeah.
his mom set him up with set her up with like a really much older man,
Right.
and she was just trying to get out of it. That she's just much like a really energetic, like she loves her job.
Right. And something that you see with a lot of shows is that characters get flanderized. It's where a character trait becomes a character's entire personality.
Oh, yeah, you mentioned this last time.
Yeah, I mentioned this
Multiple
I
times.
mentioned this every episode, but the Parks and Rec sort of does a reverse flanderization where they make a character less cartoon-like and make them more humane. For Leslie, for example, they reduced her manic mannerisms, but they kept her passion for her job. And they also made her better at her job. Within the first 6 episodes, she isn't that great at her job, but you can see as the series goes on that she is exceptional. So that's something that they changed from season 1 to season 2.
Yeah.
Awkwardly turns page. And I'm aware that it's only awkward because I made it awkward. That was intentional.
So one of the biggest character changes from season 1 to season 2 is Andy.
Andy, yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know if either of you realized when watching the show, but Andy was sort of written to be a douchebag so that he could be written off the show with Anne dumping him. But with the way the audience or whatever audience they had within that first season had reacted, they kept him on just because they wanted to take what was already a bad character and make him good. It's sort of like Andy from The Office, where they took a
I
character.
don't know about that because he had like this Andy from Parks and Rec. He's innocent and he's just a lovable guy. Andy from The Office, he's like, he just he had an anger and he was trying to
Right.
be like manipulative when he first got there.
Yeah. Andy from Parks and Rec sort of became the better person after after you saw who he was in Rock Show. Before he was really inconsiderate to Anne. If you looked at it.
Yeah, he did
Yeah,
it because he
I-
wanted Anne to keep like tending and caring
Right,
for him.
yeah.
That's why.
Honestly, I don't watch a lot of sitcoms, but I really liked the end of season 1 with the Rock Show.
What did you personally like about it?
What I personally like about it, honestly, the pacing of it wasn't too rushed. It felt how do I put this? Like, I don't know, it didn't feel rushed at all.
I mean, yeah, it's a change of pace between the other 5 episodes because the other 5 episodes were sort of rushed because of
It's refreshing.
what's Amy Poehler's pregnancy. She was pregnant before the start of season 1, so they had
Oh.
so they sort of had to rush the first 5
I think that was
episodes.
the Lego Batman guy. We learned that.
Yeah. So
He was actually on the show. He was like an MRI doctor. It
yeah,
was really funny.
yeah. What I like about that episode is he said you get triplets right off the bat, and as you know,
Yeah,
she
she actually
actually
gets 'em.
yeah, she has triplets. So I think that's like a nice foreshadowing.
Yeah, no, my favorite episode is season 5 episode 10 with the two parties, like the two bachelorette parties, especially
Right.
the male side. The woman's side is just cleaning up Leslie's act, like what she did with hiding digging up or sorry. They're digging Native American artifacts into
Right.
the ground so
Yeah.
that
Or
Paunchburg-
Native American artifacts with
yes,
like
the
quotations.
Paunch Burger wouldn't be allowed to start construction.
Yeah, I think that was actually like I don't like Paunch Burger for that for how they did that.
I just
They-
don't like the Catherine Pinewood lady.
Yeah. I don't like how they took all of the hard work that Leslie put into fixing that pit for a park, and they just
Yeah.
wanted to put a
Jam,
paunch burger on it.
Councilman Jam is much more is much like is not much more, but he's more than just like the Paunch Burger thing.
Right.
So he's funny, but
Yeah, he
Captain
has
Pine
more.
was
Yeah,
just for like the Paunch
yeah, he
Burger,
has.
the unhealthy part of
Jam
eating
has more depth than
Pinewood.
yeah.
Yeah. No, and then they go to the NFL court. Reggie Wayne and Andrew Luck. I don't expect you guys to know them, but that was just fun to watch. And then also, when Ron's like in liquid form, and they're like, "Yeah, I don't think you need to specify," but he's like, "You trust me, you do."
Right. Something that Parks and Rec sort of fixed that The Office didn't really do well was worked with side characters. Parks and Rec didn't have side characters per se. Like, yeah, you had Jerry and Donna, and
Well, I wouldn't call them side characters. I'd call them like it's like I mean I would like they're not the main. Actually, they kind of are the main character show. Yeah,
yeah,
anyone
that
in that
yeah,
in the
that's what I'm talking
Parks and
about.
Recreation department.
Yeah, so side characters that sort of started off as side characters became characters with more depth and more
Right.
development over time.
Yeah, Donna was just like her personality was completely different from the first season to the second season because she actually
Right.
got like she wasn't just like an extra on the show in the background. She was actually like she actually had roles and talk
Right.
like
Yeah.
speaking roles and talk.
So Parks and Recreation handled that well, and the only reason they handled it well was because
There's less people. I think only like 7 people
yeah.
in the Parks and Rec
yeah, they had
department.
fewer people, and it was also a problem that I don't know if it was Greg Daniels or Michael Schur, but one of them had seen that problem with The Office and wanted to rectify it
Well,
with Parks and
I
Recreation.
mean, I don't know about that because Office was like 2005 to 2013 or 2007 to 2013, and then Parks and Rec was 2009 to 2015. So
Yeah, but
it's not like they saw the whole show.
right, yeah, they
and, like,
didn't see the
changed
whole
it.
show obviously, but uh, obviously with the first season you had like you said background characters, and they sort of developed over on. So within the first 3 years of The Office, you could see how characters had development, and then later on they wouldn't have that. When writing simultaneously for two different shows, you're able to see how one show acts and another. So while comparing The Office to Parks and Recreation, they realized that they had written characters off as sort of flanderized, and they wanted to fix that with Parks and Recreation. So yeah, that's one of the problems they fixed with the spin-off series, and I think Parks and Recreation does well with staying on its own without being looked at as The Office's younger like sister show.
It's not like Friends where they had the spin-off Joey. It was actually something. You could think of it as independent. It was actually good
I
as a
think they
standalone
did.
thing.
No, I didn't watch it, nor do I know anything like much about it. But I just remember that like they thought that Joey would be the best at having a spin-off show for himself
It wasn't that he
because
was the best.
he was the only one who's like by himself. The
Right.
other guys all
It wasn't that he was the best to do a spin-off show with. It was that they had spoken to everybody, and everyone felt like their character had ended off the series well. So they spoke to Matt LeBlanc, and he said, "Oh, $5 million just for a couple episodes, sure."
Yeah.
So
We're not calling him sellout. We're just saying.
yeah,
it was,
no, we're
it was
not.
very financially motivated,
Yeah, it was.
at least in part.
Right. Um, Sai, I know you only watched the first season of Parks and Recreation, but out of those 6 episodes, what I know you said you liked Rock Show, but what sort of put you off about the show?
What sort of put me off about the show? I don't know. It wasn't very. I here like as we're speaking right now. I'm playing Tetris. I can't hold my attention for very long. I
You
need
know.
something extremely engaging to actually get me to care about a show. I don't know. Like the entire thing of Anne and Leslie going to look at the pit and everything, and oh, we're gonna build a
Right.
park here. You know, I don't know. It's just like it was slower pacing. The timing wasn't like super great. It wasn't very engaging, honestly. It kind of felt almost boring to me. But at the end of the day, it did noticeably pick up, and I genuinely enjoyed the Rockstar episode. I don't know. It's just that the whole tone of it wasn't something I particularly enjoyed.
I mean, yeah, that's why you have to keep watching into a show. Of course, six episodes, regardless if that's the like the whole first season or not. That's not enough to base a whole show off of.
Fair
Yeah.
enough. Fair enough. I'm
Um,
just saying what I've done.
Especially when the show has actually succeeded and made it past the own pilot to do that.
Absolutely.
Right.
I'm not saying it's a bad show. I'm just saying from what I've watched, I didn't like it.
I mean,
But I'll definitely continue watching.
that's the
now that
exact
you've
same
brought it up.
reaction many people who had watched the first season of The Office had thought they
Yeah, it's like with a bunch
because
of
it
shows.
was just supposed to be a mimicry of the British version of The Office.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Less dark.
yeah, a lot of people saw that American comedy was a lot lighter and less cynical than British comedy, so that's
I
why
don't actually know how the UK one ended.
Chippity choppity. God save the
I don't
queen.
know how the UK one ended either, but
All I know is that the main guy, like the one who wanted
Ricky Gervais.
Yeah, I don't know his name.
Yeah.
He guest starred on the show. He actually did.
Yeah.
He interviewed for the job, but they didn't like him.
Yeah, he guest starred twice. Yeah.
On the computer, and then like with Michael Scott.
Yeah. Michael Scott.
I think he
tested out
and him
his,
are Steve Carell really good friends in real life.
Yeah, I think
but-
they are. I think they just like you aren't able to see it as much because they just make fun of each other for being the same character on the exact same show, really.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like they probably are good friends outside of the show.
Yeah.
So the reason Parks and Rec sort of put you off with the first season is because they covered more internal conflicts rather than external conflicts. But by that I mean that they sort of talked more about the Parks and Recreation department rather than what they actually did in the first season. The only thing that they really covered was the pit. And they changed this with season 2 with the Harvest Festival and what else? There are a lot of long, like a couple episode running plots throughout the later seasons. The Harvest Festival is the first one that comes to mind for me. Sid, are you able to name any other long running plots?
What? The pit? I don't know. Wait,
No,
sorry,
no.
What was the question?
Like long running plots in Parks and Recreation. Like, you know how the Harvest Festival was a large topic for a couple episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, like there was a plot leading up to that moment.
Right,
Something
yeah.
leading up to it. Well, I mean, of course, the Pawnee Commons first. There's filling the pit. That part, and then Andy is living in the pit, and he breaks his. Or
Yeah.
I guess he gets injured, and then making it the Pawnee Commons. Also Project Ann with her baby.
Right.
Yeah, pretty much. And then all of season 6 is just about Leslie's recall,
Right. Yeah.
or most of season 6.
Yeah. I find I guess you can call it an arc, but when Leslie runs for city council.
Yeah, no, that's the whole That's the whole season 4. I actually
Oh, okay.
I like it like
Yeah.
that.
I loved when she met up with Joe Biden.
Oh yeah, that
You
was
loved
really
it.
fun.
You
Yeah, dude. Bro, Joe Biden's the best.
I think they meet in season 6 or 7.
It's when
Oh no,
Ben.
it's not in 7 because that's not up to the time skip.
It's when Ben's in
Washington.
Yeah,
So
so-
season 5 then. My bad.
yeah. I find the interactions between Leslie and all of the higher up people that Ben meets while in Washington, like
Hot Rebecca, like in amalgam, I think the thing was that she says like of us all the women. She also you also see Michelle Obama on the show.
oh yeah, I remember
That was in the San Francisco episode.
Oh, I thought that was in the same episode she met Joe Biden.
No, because that's the episode where that one guy, Grant Larson, wants Leslie to build the park. This is like the end of season 6, and then wants like to build an office in Chicago, like to take a national parks job.
Right.
And instead, they decided that the whole third floor that Ron spent like some odd of the season building this refurbishing.
Yeah.
They decided that space because you get more room and it's cheaper, so might as well.
Sai, I know you like I keep saying that you only watched the 6 episodes.
Did you know I only watched 6 episodes?
Oh no, I didn't know that.
Oh yeah.
But
we should remind them
how
again.
who out of the characters that you know, who are your favorite character? Who's your favorite character?
The libertarian guy. I forget his name.
Ron?
Ron Swanson.
I thought he was funny. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not even a libertarian. I'm very much not a libertarian. I just thought he was super funny.
Okay.
Typical
Alright.
Lawbert moment, but okay.
All right.
one of my favorite characters. Yeah, Ron Swanson's a good character to pick, but
My favorite's Tom, a Tom Haverford.
Oh yeah,
Right, yeah.
Tom was pretty nice.
You can't see you don't really know what Tom is like. If I stopped watching season
I,
one.
I
You
really
gotta,
I really don't, but like you
gotta go into season 2.
I
just
think
to
he
get
was
his-
kind of normal.
No, you
nah, he isn't normal after the first
Wait, then
season.
who am I talking about?
you get his
No,
the little
no.
Indian
Tom
dude.
is supposed to be the Jim character, for that first season, but they changed him after that.
Wait, they
because,
changed him after the first season?
Yeah,
How bad?
they didn't-
I
they
don't
didn't
know
change
if he
him
was
for-
supposed to be Jim because he wasn't like a laid back
No.
guy. Wait,
no. I mean, he sort of was in the first season.
I wouldn't say.
Wait,
laid
was
back,
he-
though. I would
was
say
he
doesn't
Paul
care about his
Schneider?
job.
Was he played by Paul Schneider?
No, he was played by
Aziz
Aziz
Ansari.
Ansari.
No, so the stakeout season, episode 2 of season 2, like the one where like Officer Dave, the one who
Right, yeah, that's a good
like
episode.
arrests him. He is like, "What are you gonna do? Because I'm Indian, I can't drive a plane." That's when
Exactly.
he finally took like persona. And
It's
then
amazing.
also like
Sai, you didn't even watch.
I
that.
didn't watch it, but from
And also, they didn't change him for the worse.
they changed it for the better.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
became a funnier character, really.
Mm.
also the episode where they play the game, like where they play like the game to find out who can dig up the most dirt over who, and then they find out that Tom's marriage is illegal. That's also something that helps his like story, I guess.
Yeah, I feel like just the depth about his marriage, really, that was a interesting. I don't know if I should call it an arc because it was just a topic for a couple episodes over. I think was it just season 2?
Wait for what side?
For Tom's marriage, did they only talk about it during season 2?
It carried over into season 3 because you find out. I mean, like 1 or 2 episodes because you find out that it was 4 episodes because Ron dates his ex-wife
Yeah.
Wendy,
Right.
and then he brings Tammy into the scene, and that's the same day that Ron finds out that Wendy's
yeah.
moving to Canada, and then they do that.
Speaking about, I think that's Tammy 2, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
So
Tammy 2.
speaking about Tammy 2, she's actually played by what's Ron Swanson's actor's name?
Nick Offerman.
Yeah. Yeah. So Tammy 2 is played by Nick Offerman's real life wife.
That's a very nice piece of trivia.
It's very interesting when you actually see how they interact on the show.
Yeah.
I hope they act different outside of the show.
All right, chill out. Too much. No, but Tammy one's weird because they were husband and wife, and then she delivered Ron.
Right, yeah. And didn't she also like teach at like a school or something? Like
She was like a grade school teacher, I think.
yeah, so
She actually like threw a jar of acid on Tammy 2's foot.
A jar of acid?
Yes.
yeah.
What am I missing? Dear
And,
God, that sounds brutal.
didn't she
You don't see it.
she
but-
also taught Tammy 2 at the same school, right? Yeah.
That's what I just said.
Oh no, I didn't realize. It's been a while. Calm down.
I just said that.
No, you just said that she threw. It was that while she was teaching her.
Well, when she found out that Ron was married to her,
Yeah. So you who's the character that you dislike actually? I mean, I wouldn't say I dislike anybody on the show. Maybe.
I mean, I'm gonna go more. I do like Ron, of course, but I like Andy a lot too.
Right.
I'll go to dislikes once I think of it. But then, also, I feel bad for Jerry sometimes.
Yeah.
Like that episode where Ben stands up for him. I was like, no, just stop.
If I'm saying a character that I don't like out of every character in the series, I would probably say Mark Brandanowitz.
Well, I mean, he was only season 1 and 2. So
Yeah,
I'm
you
not
didn't
gonna
have
say
enough
him.
time to really get to know him, but
Exactly.
the character that he played wasn't that great. It didn't really fit in with the other characters. After the show changed for the better, after the show changed for the better, he didn't really fit in because he was still a cynical person on the show. So
I wouldn't say cynical so much as that he kind of acted like the Jim. He didn't care
Right.
about his job. He was.
Yeah.
He actually was looking to get out of it.
yeah, and that's how the writers sort of wrote him off. And I find it a little weird how they just never mention him ever again.
I mean, there's no really point where they
Yeah,
need to.
yeah, you don't need to, but
Like
I
city contracting doesn't have an issue. Is not like an issue for anything. It's not like
Yeah.
a speed bump. Or,
But I think they should have mentioned him like probably once during the series finale.
maybe.
Yeah,
But what would be the purpose of that?
Just to bring up a character that hasn't been brought up in the past.
Hey, yo, remember
5
that one
years.
guy that we haven't mentioned for 5 years?
Wait,
What-
are you talking about since Parks and Rec ended? Because that's 6 years.
Oh no, between when he left and the series finale, that's 2 to 7. That's 5 years.
The show ended in 2015.
When did season 2 end? I'm saying from the end of season 2 to the series finale. So I think that's 5 years, right?
I'm assuming, yeah.
Yeah. So
It doesn't say, so yeah.
yeah, but just bringing up a character that hasn't been brought up within 5 years, yeah, it's gonna be a little weird. But I think they should have brought him up at least once after he had left, just to sort of leave his character on a all right note, or just
Hey, yo, remember
like-
that one guy?
a good way to put it is how they wrote off Shirley in Community. She didn't appear in one episode, and they said,
Oh, yeah, they said she was doing like a cop, like detective.
right, yeah,
Well, Community just derailed, but I guess
Yeah,
we'll talk about that soon.
yeah. Is there really anything else to talk about Parks and Rec? It didn't have any downfall, so there's
If anything, it got better.
yeah.
No,
I personally, I don't know where it got better.
you want to talk about the time skip?
Oh yeah, actually yeah, that would be something interesting to talk about. So in season 7 they
Start off in 2017.
yeah, so they skipped 3 years. I think a lot of shows assume that within a certain amount of time you're gonna have a bunch of holograms or whatever, and this is something that Parks and Rec did, but they sort of handle it well with something like Back to the Future. You had 2015 just be as if it was like 2099, It was
2017. They had like the gristle pads and all that stuff.
right. Yeah, you had
It's really funny seeing how inaccurate they were, and then when they go to 2019, it's even more developed.
I like
Right.
how Family Guy did it. Family Guy did like a thing where
Well, I mean,
Quagmire.
Family Guy's story doesn't.
But they had
doesn't
a
stick.
future episode, and I like that.
yeah, but
future
Family
episode.
Guy's series.
It's incoherent. I don't like Family Guy.
Yeah,
I just like that
cartoon
one episode.
shows don't really have like a ongoing story.
Yeah,
enough.
they just have
They can't just reverse like.
they have an open-ended story per episode, really.
Like
Yeah, it
in
resets at the end of the
SpongeBob,
episode.
When Squidward and SpongeBob fuse, and then like Squidward like does this like does the concert, and all the main characters fuse, including some somewhat main characters like Sammy, not Sammy, Larry the Lobster and Pearl.
Right.
And then it's like all started when I was born. It's not like that storyline continues. That's just one episode. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's something that I like about live action sitcoms a little bit better because they actually focus on certain topics for a little while longer.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I find that a little bit more interesting. Um, going back to the time skip, I think they handled the time skip somewhat well. It wasn't too far out of reach because you do have stuff like holograms; those actually exist. So
I like how in the episode with I think what was it called? It was called a Grizzle Box or yeah, whatever. The episode where they go on TV and they do like Judge Purd and like instead of Judge Judy.
right.
When they talk about the Star Wars release date and that's how they cut Ben off. It's cool how they like reference moments that happened while the show was taking place.
Mm-hmm.
And then do that. And then the show ended in November 2015, so that movie still didn't come out, but the release date was given. So, yeah.
I think they actually ended the show really nicely as well. They brought back Anne and Chris.
That was naturally like a final series.
Yeah, and
I don't even think they were written off the show. I think that was just what they wanted to do.
yeah. I feel like Greg Daniels and Michael Schur actually had a vision. Not, I think they had a vision for Parks and Rec as soon as the show started. So
Yeah.
it wasn't like they were planning the week before the episode was to release. They had a vision for how they wanted to start and how they wanted to end. So I think the last episode is written very well as per just how it's how they send off characters, and they don't actually send them off. They just show what their future is going to be like,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah, I like how they did that.
yeah, I think it's an interesting way to end off
Actually,
the
if
show.
you're talking about characters that you dislike, I dislike Craig from the later seasons. He's just too loud. I just don't like his persona.
I don't remember Craig.
He remember how we watched that episode on Netflix with the guy who was yelling around New York City?
Yeah.
That guy. Remember
Oh,
Craig?
right. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. He's not the greatest.
Yeah.
Sai, you want to add anything?
Definitely not. I was about to say, wait, what, bro? You do not like me because I'm very loud? Nah.
Hey, quick spin-off, Sid and Subhash.
I'm not saying no.
Hey, I'll do my own political thing if that happens.
Not on this bloody
Not on
channel.
this one, but like I'll have like
Yeah,
a side
leave
thing
me
where I
out of
talk
that
politics with people.
Yeah, you leave me out of that one.
Yeah.
Welcome back to Sid and Subhash.
Oh my god.
I mean, I think that really concludes this episode of the Indian Tech Support Podcast. It's not the longest episode, but
You could find us on Anchor, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, but mainly Apple Podcasts and Spotify because that's any of you guys use.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess listen to us on there if you don't want to listen to us on YouTube. Also, to anyone that says, "Oh, you should have something for the viewers to watch," it's a podcast. You're supposed to listen to it.
I mean, I say that, so shut up, Subhash.
Nah, it's a podcast. You should listen to it.
Oh.
Are you okay, Sai?
Yeah, no, I'm completely fine.
Okay. This is a great way to end off our episode.
Anyways,
I hope you have a great night.
I really wish Pawnee was
no,
more
you
played.
should say I've been Sid, you've been Suba.
Alright, okay. I've been Sid.
I've been Subhash, and
This is your guest Sai.
yeah, I hope you have a great night. Thank
Terrible
you for
guest.
listening to us.